Man, this game looks so freaking good. I mean, just look at that view. Why do I hate you? Is it because of you? Well, yeah, you're partially to blame. Is it because of you? Yeah, you suck. Like, a lot. But I know who's really to blame. It's you! You mustached bastard. Ever since you came along, every game's tried to be like you. Stupid jump, man. If only you were staying on the ground, man. Then I wouldn't hate this dumb game about killing big monsters.
The platformer, one of gaming's original pillars, and at the foundation of this pillar stands Mario, or as he was known in the original platformer, Jumpman. Mario has been at the forefront of the platforming genre since the beginning and has paved the path every step of the way into the future. My first experience with Mario was with Super Mario Land 2 on the original Game Boy. I played it on my sister's transparent DMG Game Boy, and the only thing I really remember from it was that I really liked the music. I know I never beat the game, but I know I jammed hard to this. This was really my only exposure to Mario for a long time. Growing up, I was a Sega kid. I didn't have a Super Nintendo or an N64. I had a Genesis and a Dreamcast. Sonic the Hedgehog was my first introduction to video games, and I spent many hours holding the Player 2 controller while my siblings ran through each zone at Sonic speed. By the time I was old enough to really understand games to the point that I could play them by myself, we had discovered the wonders of the Sega Dreamcast. We bought a Dreamcast specifically for one game, Crazy Taxi. The auction that we won on eBay came with a copy of Sonic Adventure as well, and with that, I got to experience some more platformer goodness. Time went on, we got a PlayStation 2, a GameCube, I eventually became addicted to Pokemon, and as the years progressed, I had all but stopped playing platformers. I grew up playing some platforming classics, but realized pretty quickly that I preferred other genres. To this day, I can just about say for certain that I have only ever beaten one platformer in my life.
This game sucks! Mario freaking Odyssey. This game is beloved by the masses. Perfect 10s across the board and countless praise from all walks of life. I don't like it.
I don't like how repetitive it is. I have some issues with the controls, and I hate the small yet annoying setbacks when you make a mistake. When it comes down to the nitty-gritty, I just don't like platformers. Maybe I'm just bad at games. I mean, I am bad at games, but I'm not a masochist. I don't like dealing with the same BS thing over and over in any video game. That all said, I won't deny that it is a good game. As I talk about my experience with the game, I want you to try your hardest to put yourself into my shoes. I've played a lot of games in my time. A very small baby-sized handful of those games were platformers, and I either hated them or I was too young to realize I didn't like the genre as a whole. Now that you've got it, keep that picture in mind and let's talk about Super Mario Odyssey. I do have legit issues with the game that I already touched on, but I won't get into those until later. For now, I want to talk about what Mario Odyssey does good. Mario Odyssey is praised as much as it is for good reason. It does so much right, and while playing, you can tell how much thought the devs put into it. Right from the get-go, you are put into a situation where you can learn how the game works as you progress. With each level, you will learn some new game mechanic, and after learning it, you will immediately put it into action. Typically, by the end of the level, you'll even use that mechanic in a boss fight. This is peak game design. It explains how to play the game, and more often than not, you as the player won't even realize it. This kind of game design is essential for the type of game that Odyssey is. All Mario games are roughly the same except for some gimmick that is thrown in to shake up the gameplay. They have all progressively built upon each other to make the two styles of Mario games as good as can be, but there is usually something new for players to figure out. Odyssey is no different. This time around we have Cappy, the sentient hat that lets Mario take over the minds of just about any living thing that isn't already wearing a hat. I think this gimmick is really neat. Gravity and the Power Washer have their place, but I couldn't care less about those. Being able to be the different creatures in the Mario world and also be able to use their powers is actually exciting to me. It's a lot like Kirby, ironically another series I don't care for, but nonetheless it's a pretty sweet power-up. There are a lot of unique powers you can take control of, but the novelty wears off fast. Regardless, I do like this aspect of Odyssey. It's used in a lot of cool puzzles, and there's almost zero platforming to be done.
See, Cole, I told you it's a perfect game. Oh, no one plays Mario for the story. You get the controls down the more you play.
I know all about repetition in video games. I have literally done the same thing over and over in a video game, hoping to hit that minuscule chance of finding something different. Setting that aside, you'd still be hard-pressed to find a game with zero repetition. It's something that is bound to video games, but it doesn't mean I have to like it. After all, the best games make repetition not feel repetitious. Going back to Pokemon, while I hate the repetition of hunting for different colored Pokemon, I do love to catch them, and that's literally just throwing balls at them, over and over. But it doesn't feel repetitious to me. Each encounter can feel different, and that's the magic of making repetitive things feel not repetitive. Odyssey isn't an overly repetitive game, but the things that are make me not excited to keep playing. After playing for about an hour, it would start to wear on me. A lot of the time, it felt like I was in a new world with the same stuff. Each level has a special feeling thanks to the art and the music, but you just end up doing the same stuff you did in the previous one. Make your way through the area by solving puzzles, and in the end, fight a boss. The puzzles can be fun and unique, but they tend to be pretty self-explanatory. This isn't a problem in and of itself. I mean, I get it. Make the game accessible to everyone. My problem is that you see the same puzzles so often that instead of a fun game mechanic, they become a glorified roadblock. When you come across a puzzle, you've basically already got it figured out because you've done the same thing like 5 times before. The story progression bosses are another offender of repetition. Most of these story bosses don't even feel different from the last. Hit them with your hat, dodge their attacks, and bop them on the head. It's monotonous. I hate these stupid bunnies. At least the optional bosses in each level provide something different. Next is a pretty minor issue and mostly a me problem, but I still want to bring it up regardless. I really struggled with the controls. You could probably just default this to me being bad at games, but I want to explain my reasoning anyway. I rolled credits in Odyssey after around 5 or 6 hours. During that time, I never once understood the difference in button combination between the ground pound and the mid-air dive. The amount of times that I ground pounded to my death was too damn high. I do realize now that I simply had a timing issue with my button inputs. Yeah, it was my fault, but what baffles me is that there are unused buttons on the controller, and some buttons do the exact same thing. Why not just map each individual ability to a specific button? If this were the case, I would never have had an issue. A lot of the time I play games, I do it to experience an engaging story. Let's be honest, the story in Odyssey isn't doing anything for me either. Don't get me wrong, I have played games specifically for the gameplay, knowing full well I would not care for the story. So needless to say, the story in Odyssey did not win points with me. I don't get why every game in the series is always Bowser steals Peach, and quite frankly, he would probably kill her. Just let this picture sink in. My biggest issue with Mario Odyssey, and with all platformers, is the penalty for messing up. Admittedly, Odyssey is pretty forgiving compared to others, but there were still times it got under my skin. Take this example in the Wooded Kingdom. There is this neat little puzzle room that you can do to get 2 moons. But to get there, you have to do all of this. If you fall down, then you have to do it all over again. And if you mess up on your way up, oh boy. Do a flip! Not the worst penalty, but my point still stands. I actually hated the Wooded Kingdom specifically because of the penalty for falling. In another section of the world, when you fall, you would end up in the deep woods. Every time I fell down there, I hated life. The sweet music was gone. I had a hard time getting out, and you can't even teleport away. My second time playing the Wooded Kingdom, I never once went down there, and as a result, I had a much nicer time. Mario Odyssey is a good game. The music is phenomenal. The game design is masterclass. The art direction is splendid. The hat captures can be a ton of fun. But I'll be damned if I said that I enjoyed the platforming in it. In the past, I have had fun playing platformers. In fact, I have many fond memories of playing platformers. There are things that they do that appeal to me, but I know that in the long run, I won't enjoy playing them. And don't think I don't want to like them, I genuinely do want to like them. There are so many things that I wish I liked so that I could have the same experiences that others have while doing those things. But I don't. In the end, Mario games are just not for me. And I'm okay with that. And you should be too.
Look, it's not you, it's me. You can be fun at times, but when it comes down to it, I'm just not that into you. But you're great. I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that probably would like you.
Hey everyone, thank you for watching my video on why I hate Mario Odyssey. If you liked what you saw, leave a like, and if you didn't like what you saw, leave a comment telling me why I'm wrong. Don't forget to check out Sky's video on why he likes Mario Odyssey as well. Check out our Patreon where you can support us in making videos just like this one. Thanks again for watching, and as always, keep it rad.